Hi there. I'm in bed editing my last video, the mindful consumption video, and I realized that it's super long, so I'm breaking it into two parts, but I need an intro for the second part. So the second part of this video is all about the rules that I kind of ask myself, or like questions I ask myself, or rules I've created for myself to make sure that I'm shopping intentionally when I add something to my wardrobe. If you didn't see my previous video, I talk a lot about my personal arc to getting to a place where I really love my wardrobe, where I feel good about my consumption. And that starts from me growing up pretty poor and not having a lot, to making my own money and then becoming an overconsumer and a shopaholic and consuming a lot of fast fashion, then moving into minimalism. And now I'm at this very happy medium where I consume, but I feel like I consume thoughtfully. I consume things that I really love and I wear. And so I have some rules that have come about that I will share with you in this video. All right, I hope you enjoy. If you didn't watch the previous one, please go back and watch that too. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. So some of the rules that I adhere by now, I'll go into so you can see how I approach shopping and adding things to my closet. The number one thing is my budget, because we live in a capitalist society that is ruled by money, and honestly, shopping can create a lot of stress around budgeting. And so I always have an amount of money I know I can spend so that I don't feel guilty when I spend money. It's like, no, I have given myself permission to spend X amount. I will spend just that. If I can't, there's something that exceeds that 1 month or over the year, then I will sell some of the things in my closet to, make up for that, or I'll find another way to make money to be able to buy that. And then I'll grant myself the permission to buy it. I never exceed my budget though on clothing. I don't want my wardrobe to be the thing that makes me feel stressed out financially ever. Just because I have a really nice pair of shoes or a new jacket, that shouldn't stress me out about paying my bills or my savings goals or anything like that. So number one, I really stick to a budget. I set a budget. I set a realistic one. I set one that feels like a treat, but also not something that's like obscene, where I know that I'm going to be stressed out about, money. The other thing is I started tracking what I like to wear, and I started doing this mainly through posting on Instagram, wardrobe pictures. Like, I did it to share and create community, and I like sharing, what I'm wearing, getting inspiration from others, and love that. But also it was like an accountability measure for me to be like, oh, am I wearing that dress that I bought? How many ways have I styled it? Like, oh, if I'm feeling uninspired with my wardrobe, how have I worn that in the past? So having those photos in my camera roll, or having them on Instagram, or wherever you want to keep them, or even writing them down if you prefer. I mean, taking a picture is the easiest thing for me, but that really showed me, okay, I'm actually wearing this, and oh, maybe I'm not wearing that so much. Can I try and style it in other ways? And if not, it can go. It doesn't need to be in my wardrobe if I'm not wearing it, unless it has some kind of sentimental value. Like, I have a sweater from my grandmother that I wear once a year around Christmas, and that will always stay because it's sentimental. And of course, I'm not getting the most amazing cost per wear out of it, but it was a gift anyway. And there's a few things like that, but not a lot in my wardrobe. The other thing around style is making sure that I am getting to know myself more in every phase of my life. Understanding what my personal style is and what I'm liking to wear, by documenting that, it creates more intention to see what I'm wearing, but it also lets me see visually, oh, what are the outfit formulas that I gravitate towards too? How did I feel in that outfit? Do I feel more comfortable wearing denim and an easy button-up top? Or do I feel more comfortable in dresses? Like, I started to realize, okay, actually, I like the look of certain styles on other people, but I don't like wearing them myself, like shift dresses. I love a shift dress on other people. Every time I wear, I am so uncomfortable for some reason. I much prefer actually more bodycon dresses or like bias cut dresses that move with me, and I don't have to like futz around with. And that was a hard realization because I love a beautiful mod looking shift dress. Who knows, maybe there's one out there that I will love, but I don't like wearing it throughout the day. So anyway, there's things like that that I had to learn about myself so I could understand my personal style and comfort a little bit more, and then not make purchases that just sit in my closet. The other big thing that I started doing, like probably in 2017 or 18, because I have a really long note, maybe I'll share a screenshot of it. I have a note in my notes app that is just labeled wants. It used to be called shopping list, but I've changed it to wants. And I actually have another one in my Pinterest of things that I would find on Pinterest that like inspired me, and put it in my wants folder. And that way I have this long list of like things that could be an instant buy, like you see it and you're like, oh, I love that, I want it. And I just kind of put it there and let it sit. Sometimes I even take a screenshot of the photo for my notes app so I can like see it. And I let it sit there for a while and I decide later, do I actually really want this? Like, nothing should be an impulse for me anymore. A pair of shoes, it's not an urgent thing for me, thankfully. A nice jacket, not an urgent thing. If it sells out, it sells out. There'll be another one at some point. There'll be something similar at some point. There'll be another jacket, another beautiful jacket. So I don't really worry about like that, oh, it's the scarcity thing. I think that's where like capitalism and shopping really gets you, is when you have this scarcity mindset. There's always another beautiful dress, always another beautiful pair of shoes out there that's meant for you. So I like to just sit on a purchase for a while. And I also keep track of all my purchases. So I have one note that has just what I want. And like maybe like right now I put a pair of like horse bit loafers in there because I was like, I think I want some loafers with the like hardware. So I put that in my note. There's like always a bag in there. And I just kind of sit on it and I put the price there. I put a link to it and I usually put a picture. And then that lets me just sit on it. And a lot of those things I don't end up buying. The want wears away. But the things that I do buy, I also keep in a separate list. And so that list keeps track and I keep it month to month for every year. And it shows also how much I'm spending. So I make sure I'm not going over my budget as well for things that, for bags and shoes and whatever, because that's so easy to do. So I keep track of it. And that's how I kind of just keep tabs. It's a little extra work, but in the long run, it just makes me a lot more conscientious of what I'm shopping, what I'm seeing, what I'm spending in general. Another thing that I do is I keep a Pinterest board of everything that I buy or something similar if I can't find a piece. Like if it's thrifted, I'll find something similar on Pinterest, and I keep an entire Pinterest board of all of those things. So I can scroll back years and years and years. And I started doing this when I was very minimalist, actually. I do that because I like to see what I already have. So if I am in a store, for instance, and I'm like, oh, I really love that striped shirt, which happens very often because I love striped shirts, I can go back into my Pinterest board and be like, oh wait, Gina, you own like 2 striped shirts very similar. You bought these like a few months back. Like, don't forget what's in your wardrobe kind of thing. And yeah, it just helps me like be like, oh, actually, I have something that I could style similar to that, or I have something, I already have it. I don't need it. I don't need to buy it. So that's one more little hack that I do. But getting back to some of the actual rules, another thing I do going along with like putting something on a list if I want to buy it, I really resist the sale temptation. I have a little like test in my mind. Would I buy this if it were full price? Would I still want it as much? Like, is it worth the full price amount to me? So that's one thing. If the answer is no, then do you really want it? Or maybe you do really want it, or you had something on your list already, like it, and you just found a really good deal, and that's great, and that's amazing, and you should buy it. But if you can afford it. But if it's just something that is like kind of a one-off, you hadn't been thinking about it until you saw it was on sale and it was a really good deal, maybe you don't really need it. The other thing I like to do is for bigger purchases, especially things that I'm a little weak for, like handbags. I've actually created a new rule because I have a savings goal. Savings goals that I hit, but I have like a bonus savings goal for my son now. I started feeling guilty every time I buy a handbag. I'm like, oh, this handbag could be in my son's, education fund. So anytime I buy a handbag in particular for myself, I match the funds to my son's education fund. So like, let's say I'm buying a $300 handbag. I want to buy a $300 handbag. I also have to have $300 in my budget, which comes out of my spending personal free money budget at some point in the year to put into my son's education fund. And so that means that bag is actually like $600 to me. And it's like, do I want that bag badly enough to spend $600 on it and not just $300. This could also be for smaller purchases like, oh, I see this sweater that I really love, it's $50, but I also have a savings goal. I want to go on this trip, or I am saving for a car, or whatever it is. Okay, can I afford to save $50 as well? Or would it feel better for me to just put the full $100 into that savings if you can? So anyway, I don't know, this kind of mental math and gymnastics and like accountability to myself to do the savings, it really, I don't know, somehow it helps me. And there have been a number of times where I look at the bag and I'm like, I really don't need that bag. I have something similar. It probably won't get worn that much anyway. And then I just put the money into my son's account anyway. And I'm like, I feel much better about that. So yeah, having a little like accountability tool to be accountable to your savings as well feels really good. It also helps me not accumulate too many things. One of the other questions I ask myself when I'm purchasing something is, am I buying this for my real life or am I buying this for my fantasy life? So there is obviously the fantasy life that we all live. Might be you are out at parties all the time, or at fancy brunches all the time, or you're a corporate girly, or you're, I don't know, for me, like a homesteader wearing ethereal dresses and frolicking through the grass. I don't know, whatever your fantasy life is, but maybe it's not your real life right now. You should not, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not gonna should you, but I try not to purchase things for the life that I'm not living right now. At least, yeah, I just try not to do it unless that life is very nearby. So for instance, I'm a toddler mom. I love my son. He's amazing, very messy, very active. And I just don't wear a lot of white, honestly, unless it's for work around him. I don't wear a lot of shift dresses. I don't wear a lot of short dresses. I don't wear a lot of heels. I don't wear heels at all anymore, actually. So those are things that I will look at and I would love to have in my wardrobe. But right now it just doesn't suit my lifestyle. I don't need it. They're gonna sit on the shelf and get dusty. And so I ask myself a lot, is that for fantasy Gina or is that for actual Gina? And it feels so much better to buy things for actual Gina that I get to wear and love and use up, honestly. So then I feel good about replacing it or, you know, bringing something else in my life. Anyway, so think about it. Is it for your fantasy life or is it for your real life? Okay, another rule is always aiming for the best quality I can afford. So this is very nuanced. Not everyone can afford the most pristine quality all the time. If you thrift, you're gonna be able to afford a lot better quality than, you know, buying fast fashion, to be totally frank. But not everyone has the time and patience to thrift either, or to like scour secondhand shops or scour secondhand websites. So that's totally valid. That's also a form of affording, you know, something. It's time and money. So anyway, buying the best quality you can afford is one of the biggest tips I have, because buying good quality will make you feel better, it will last longer, it's a better investment, and if you go to resell it later, you will get a lot of your money back, hopefully. And so caring for your things is a huge part of that too. But I really try to make sure that I am buying higher quality. I can talk to you a lot more about like what constitutes higher quality or how to catch that. Some of the things that I look for is the composition of the fibers of the fabrics that you buy or your clothes are made of. I like natural fibers. They're healthier, they're better for you. They wear a lot better, they last a lot longer. I actually have a really extensive blog post and blog series on natural fibers and why they're so important and why you should invest in them and put them on your body. So I can talk about that another time. I also look at stitching and I look at the patterning of a piece of clothing, like patterning meaning the way that it's sewn together and the way that the shapes are cut out. So does it fit your body in a way that's going to be comfortable, that's going to fit for a while and just be comfortable, honestly. So yeah, quality, we can go deep on quality. If you're interested in that, I can definitely share what my thoughts are, what I've learned by sewing my own clothes and by having a clothing company. And yeah, I can just go a little bit deeper. Okay, and I think the last thing that I'll talk about is I try to buy for versatility. And I do this because I do want to keep a smaller wardrobe. It doesn't mean that every piece of clothing you have in your wardrobe has to be able to like go with everything else. But I like clothes that I can wear multiple ways. I can style different ways because when I'm in a creative rut or I'm feeling like I don't have anything to wear, I like to be able to switch it up. So like button-ups, for instance, you can wear them open, you can wear them closed, you can roll it up, you can do stuff with the collars. I've seen people do really cool things. Wearing dresses that are layerable, sweaters that, can be worn a couple of ways. Like, I just like a lot more versatility, and I like to think about the other pieces. Going back to the Pinterest board I keep, sometimes I'll even pull that up and be like, oh, will this go with the color palette that I have? I have a very like honed in color palette because I do like a lot of neutrals and earth tones. So, but you can have a really colorful color palette and then still see, oh, will this actually go with all the pants that I have? Or like, I want this mustard jacket and I have all these like purple and navy and whatever pants, like, will they go? Anyway, looking to see, okay, will this be a versatile piece in my wardrobe is a really key thing for me, at least, to see if it's a good investment to make. Because the more versatile it is, the more I'm going to wear it, the more I get to love it, the more cost per wear I get out of it, which I guess is like part of the mental math that I do. Like, will I get the value for money out of this piece? Will I get the cost per wear out of this piece? Okay, so I try to keep it as short as possible. I know I told you up front I'm a little rambly, but yeah, I had a lot of thoughts on how I shop currently, some of the questions I ask myself, and really the key is like right now there's no extremes. It's balance. It's doing a little bit better, not beating myself up over it. It's just clothes. Like, when you buy something and it doesn't work out, not a big deal, but I just try to do a little better each time, get to know myself a little more, and yeah, buy good things that I'm gonna love and feel good in. That's the key for me, at least. If you have any questions, I know I packed a lot in there, or want any follow-up or like deeper dives on any of these topics, please let me know in the comments. I love the ideas. Thank you again, Katie, for this one. Anyway, thank you for watching if you made it this far, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.